very important change, actually, for them. Guoguo, who's their all-star mid laner during the regular season, out for this event. Also couldn't make the tournament, so they brought in Neon from Weibo Gaming to be that mid lane.
And honestly, Nian hasn't been doing poorly, but I think part of the reason why we haven't been seeing Long pop off as much is he doesn't have Guoguo to work off of.
Sure.
These two guys were so good together. They were 2 stars in their own right. And if you look at the draft right now, Nova, they're going back to basics. They're going back to what works for them, let alone carry the game. Let's play around it, boys.
But I have to say, it's an instant buy-in to Flash Wolves' strengths. As soon as you see that Senna Jax, you know that Nova Esports are planning on playing the late game here.
Yes.
And Flash Wolves are the quintessential late game team, as evidenced by the fact that they've gone Yuumi, Wukong as their own 1-2.
You know what I would like to see here from the side of Nova? You know what would be the best scaling combo I can think of right now? We saw what the Jazz play Sona into Yuumi. Now imagine a world where we play Senna Sona with Sona farming. It's never gonna happen, because it's terrible.
I don't like imagining that world,
It's terrible, but I'm just saying that would be peak scaling right there.
And the only match where we would see that is Flash Wolves versus Nova.
Possibly, yeah, right? And we do see Nova as a bit of a slower team, as evidenced by this draft, but they're not afraid to play aggressively as well. That's the strong fundamentals. Based on the draft, they can adapt.
And I want to flag that as they double down further on this late game, because the late game is where they got into trouble. That is how they dropped a game to Furious Gaming, which nobody saw coming.
Yes.
It was an incredible performance from Furious Gaming. They won the team fights off their own sweat and blood, but Nova gave them the window by letting them get to that late game.
And that comes down to draft as well. Nova's Game 2 loss was evidenced by a lack of early game playmaking, a lack of late game scaling. Well, if you look at their draft right now, the one thing they're never going to be lacking in is scaling. All 3 champions here, well, 2 champions scale infinitely, and Jax just has an insane breakpoint.
So, loads of scaling on Nova, nothing that can do damage during the early game. Is there anything on Flash Wolves that can take advantage of?
Well, that's the problem right now. You see the Corki, yeah, you might say he has the package. Once you hit the timing windows, 5 minutes around the Dragon fights, Corki's gonna be great there. That's pretty much the only early game we see from Flash Wolves right now. A lot of their team comp is also gonna be defaulting back to scaling, where I do think Nova have an edge so far. I like the Akali band. That's one of ESA's highest win rate champions, and that pick also counters what I expect to see from Flash Wolves, which is gonna be a lot of tank tops. And Nova's draft right now looks so scary.
So this Singed here gives them more tools to reach that late game, gives them more devastating late game power. It also means that Neon, maybe after that performance that they felt was a little bit shaky, is being assigned to the mid lane equivalent of Tank Dude.
Pretty much, right? But this draft tells me one thing. All 2s in the long basket. This is what the Chinese regions call fall facilitate. One, you're exactly seeing that play out on your screens right now. Akali ban, we know what Ysera's gonna play. It's gonna be the Garen. That's good scaling as well. That's good frontlining. It's gonna be very effective against the poke from the Nasus, against the Singe trying to run in and flip you. It's a pretty good answer overall, but what's ESA's counter pick gonna be? He has his pick of the litter here.
Yeah, and whatever it is, it needs to give them the team fight power to answer this in the late game, or maybe to avoid the late game.
Well, Baya played a couple Zed games yesterday, and he looked mechanically really solid. I would love to see this matchup play out.
And I think that actually does both. Because if Zed gets an early lead, that's somebody who can really terrorize many of these picks during the early and mid game. Give Flash Wolves a quick victory where they put Nova far enough behind that they don't come out on top. But also, Zed, very good in the late game, can help those Flash Wolves 5v5 team fights.
And we already talked about how Nova has such a good scaling team composition. They just added another ticking time bomb with this Camille into Garen matchup. The longer this game goes on, the more Camille's gonna do to you in the side lane. She kicks you once, that's a bar of health gone. She kicks your tower once, that's a play gone.
Is this draft sick or radical?
Both drafts are sick and radical right now.
Oh my god!
We're in for a good one, TJ. I think it's going to be a banger of a game. I like the NVF playmaking tools in the early game. You got Hook Shot, you got Hextech Ultimatum, you got the flips coming in. These are good playmaking tools, so even though you're a scaling comp, you can still...
Just fight them over Dragons, fight them over Barons, they have a chance in this game.
Well, definitely, but Nova is not afraid to is not gonna shy away from these team fights as well. Like I said, what are you looking out for when Nova comes into the team fights? It's gonna be pick tools. Now imagine a world, if you will, TJ, where you get with it, Singe runs at you, flips you. What do you really do there?
Cry.
Pretty much, right? Like you QSS the winner, I guess, but he withers you again in 12 seconds, so what do you do there?
And normally you have someone like Eason who can be that insurance policy, who can slide in through the fights on like a tank carry and kind of rescue you. On Yuumi, no rescue coming.
Yeah, Eason has been a very big playmaker for the side of Flash Wolves. Today, he won't have that ability, at least in game 1. But if you look at Yuumi, the raw power of Yuumi is just her entire thing, right?
Yeah.
You move through AP, you do a lot of damage, you scale so well, you give the ability to players like Bruce to carry.
Here's a fun factoid. We've seen a lot of, especially from Chinese teams, that 3-man start in the middle of the map.
Yes.
They did a 3-man start with Long in the middle of the map just now.
Yeah, that's a bit interesting. I think when you consider this jungle matchup, you want to avoid it as much as possible. That 3-man start will give Long a bit of EXP, a bit of timing away from the pure 1v1 against Cookie. But you see Cookie coming in right now. He has a bit of a tempo lead. You have a bot lane push lead. You could try to go for an invade here or even a dive.
Here's Sarah already getting bullied a bit by Yais in the top side.
It's not that bad right now. You remember what Lonely Kid did to him yesterday?
True! Down bottom, there's yet more bullying happening.
Love this.
Remake miles away from that wave as it crashes against the turret. Nova being denied so much gold.
And look at what's going on right now. Nian roams down to save his dragon lane, and they give Long the farm in mid while that happens.
Bruce getting tacked up.
They're good. They're chilling. The main thing I want to tell you about right now, TJ, is the absurdity of Yuumi is she's such a great scaling champion that has one of the best 1v1s in the game at level 1.
Remember when we were like, Yuumi is really powerful, and then we read the patch notes where they buffed Yuumi?
Yeah. The crazy thing about Yuumi is not even, oh, I hit you with Prowling Projectile and that hurts. She literally walks to your face, autos you, heals herself, and keeps autoing you. How does the cat do that?
Well, I find it best not to ask. Just run away from the Yuumi and/or ban her. Kind of interesting as well. First item, Oblivion Orb in lane for Eason.
Yeah, I mean, a large part of how the Nasa Senna wants to function in lane is that they have a lot of sustain. Senna has the healing with her Piercing Light. I mean, wait, it's not called Piercing Light, that's Lucian. It's okay, let's move on from that one. Yeah, Nasus also has lifesteal inbuilt to his passive. So when he hits the creeps, when he goes for last hits, he's going to be healing up there as well.
So, Oblivion Orb, of course, cuts the healing, makes it so that when Remake heals Yami, doesn't do as much HP regen.
Yeah. And of course, he has the ability to just walk up to you, hit you, throw Qs out, Prowling Projectiles in your face. This is not going to be a play. I mean, this is just never going to work.
Long, I think it's worth mentioning, Long really wants to find the play down there. They are really trying to stabilize that lane.
This is more of a, I have nothing to do on the map right now, so let me just chill here, give you guys some space to push it out. Because we always talk about tempo as being relative, right? I sacrifice my timings to give you guys tempo. In return, you need to sacrifice your timings to give me tempo. Well, that's not happening anymore. Now he's just trying to force a play.
Yeah, they need a play. He's 100 gold behind in that lane. Here we go. Dive into the front line. Bruce manages to slide away. Use of the Valkyrie gets him to safety. Remake doesn't have the damage this early on.
That's a bit interesting. Eason still has Ignite. They honestly might have been able to trade kills, and that's why I didn't like the force here for Envy. Initially, you could say, sure, Long didn't have camps. He's just chilling, giving them space, but his camps all came back up. He could have just reset. He could have just tried to go for more farm, and that would have served him better. But he tried to force the play a little bit too hard right there, and I think that attempt just backfired for Envy.
Well, I mean, how bad is it that Remake is behind in lane, that Yami is behind in lane?
Yeah, it's not too bad, honestly. If you look at the itemization from Remake and Yami, they both have the tier of the goddesses. They can just scale up. They're happy to just fall back a little bit in lane. But Nova, I think they don't want to concede anything right now, which is why they're just forcing the place. But that means that Cookie has found... Well, I was going to say Cookie's found something on the map, but not quite. He's a bit behind in gold still.
Something. It's a Rift Scout.
Well, yeah. He hasn't quite managed to get any counter jungling down. He's had a bit of a lead in the mid lane. They haven't done too much with that either. That's bad. He's dead.
Oh yeah, Eason just gone. Bruce pounding in some damage, but doesn't have enough of it yet. Here comes Remake. If he lands a root here, Bruce is in trouble. He'll have to burn the package to get away.
And that all started from Eason trying to be a bit too aggressive there. You know that Yuumi has a strong laning phase, but that's in isolation. That's in 2v2. Flash, Hextag Ultimatum. There's absolutely no counterplay for you as a Yuumi.
Really rough. Very smart by Remake to realize that the package is in Bruce's pocket and he's going to have to spend it in order to Valkyrie away.
Really smart from Isa as well.
Yeah. Objectives are up, of course, our first of the game, and that package won't be here to help fight it. Flash Wolves starting on this Rift Herald. Ocean Drake down bottom, getting picked up by Nova.
Yeah, this is just going to be a trade here, but Flash Wolves want to stop this. They want to interfere with the dragon.
Giza pushing in on that Rift Herald up top. In the meantime, down here, Baya's trying to work in. Rift Herald did get picked up by Flash Wolves. Here's the dive. Deep in. Nova secure that Drake. Neon in the meantime, working away at
win this.
Ysera. Deep dive from Easton. He's able to pick up Remake. Long down already. Ysera finally goes down. It's just Yami inside the pit. He can't keep up with the fight. He'll flash over the wall, chasing Baya on very low HP.
And that was such a close fight there. Flash Wolves nearly had it, but the Nasus untouched ended up being a big factor in that team fight. I want to just double check that Cookie did pick up the Rift Herald.
I think he
There
did,
we go. Yeah, that scared me for a second, but it's all good. He got that one. It's just going to be a standard trait, but Nova come up a bit on top in terms of kills, and they're going to have a slight gold lead right now.
A very important fight for Nova because they're looking to scale. They're looking to get to the late game with Yami out ahead.
Yami and Yuumi being the same game is kind of confusing me. I just hope that Yami never
struggling
picks
with
Yuumi.
it as well. Yeah. Well, if Yami picks Yuumi, then it's not a big deal.
Then that's
you can
fine.
use them
Yeah,
interchangeably.
that is true. I do want to point out Bruce's itemization right now. Dragon Lane Corki doesn't need the Howlbreaker. It goes for full damage. Has the Storm Razor completed. That's going to be a nice little power spike from him. Other than that, the game state is still pretty even. Now imagine that fight. Imagine that Dragon setup. If Bruce had the package, I see it going completely
100%.
differently. So it's a really good timing from Nova
Use
to make
it
the
back
earlier
in
play.
here against Ysera. Ysera falling
nice.
back behind the turret, hit by the Hextech ultimatum. Here comes Long as well, trying to burn him down with the stun counter-strike. Easy kill for Nova.
Love that play from Yeezer right there. The Ignite to cancel out the healing from the Honey Fruit. And with a Camille, with a Jax, you know they're going to one-shot that turret.
Very well done. And there's that gold lead beginning to snowball into Long's pocket.
I like what we're seeing from Nova here today. I like that Nova have started to wake up. They're starting to play exactly the way we expected them to play. That Lost of Furious seems to have woken them up, seems to have enraged them. And keep in mind what Long's nickname is in China as well. The Son of the Dragon is awake here today.
You are so proud of knowing that.
That's like literally the one fun fact I know about the guy, so of course I'm gonna run with it.
You said it twice. You said it in the series.
No, but it's such a cool thing because
What does it sound like in Chinese, in Mandarin?
I said it before. You clearly weren't listening.
Give it to me again.
龙之子. I hope I'm not saying that wrong, but that basically means son of the dragon. And that's so cool as well because it's a very big imagery thing too.
Right. I'm with you.
Without being too much of a nerd, that's about it.
No, I like it. Flash Wolves benefiting
Oh my god.
from a little bit of mid lane pressure. The range that Bruce can now poke at.
And that's what I love about Bruce, right? That's why he's such a pivotal point of the Flash Wolves. He's not afraid to go aggressive. He's not afraid to play up in your face because he knows his limits. He's such a veteran player, has been around top LMS teams for years now, and he would not throw the lead away.
And he benefited from that incredibly good bottom lane that they played.
Yeah.
That's why Remake and Yami aren't big factors. Nova relying entirely on the top side of their map. Yeezer and Long, the carries for Nova in this game. One of them's called out now down bottom.
That's good.
Goes in. Ooh, nice Dawning Shadow across the map. Long fighting in the backlines while Baya dives into Yeezer. Long now called out by Bruce, poking away. Yeezer all alone, half HP as Bruce manages to chip away with the final chapter. They'll find the first kill. That's over to Bruce. More gold in the pocket of Flash Wolves' carry.
That started out a little bit iffy there. Cookie and Baya invested so many resources onto Iza, who did a fantastic job at mitigating damage taken with the Hextech ultimatum, with the hook shot to just be slippery. But at the end of the day, they rotated their members down first, and because of that, Flash Wolves' numbers advantage, they take a kill. That's all they get, a kill. But 10 seconds, 5 seconds to the Rift Herald, we're expecting to see a big 5v5 here.
And it's a ton of very important gold for Bruce.
It is a ton of very important gold from Bruce. Unfortunately, he won't be able to complete an item with that in time, but that's still so important. We see how this guy plays.
Rift Herald online here. Nova beginning to position for it.
Nova a little bit late to this one. Frankly, I don't like their chances, but Eason doesn't have his out right now. Kuki doesn't have his out right now, so they need to stall this a little bit on side of Flash Wolves.
Cyclone back online for Cookie now.
Look at Yeezer's position.
All the way in. Yeezer starts the fight. Ysera pinned down in the back line. It's Bruce kiting away and staying alive. Yami very low in the front line. Has to flash away. Yeezer over the wall. His Dawning Shadow buys him space.
Oh,
Final
no!
chapter completely wasted. And Flash Wolves don't complete any of the kills.
TJ, that was seconds away from being a one fight for the Flash Wolves. Yuumi ultimate, 2 seconds away. They didn't have it. Can you see that entire team fight changing? If he sliced that through the team of Nova, unfortunately wasn't up in time. And that's why we say seconds make all the difference here.
That's what I'm always saying.
Fortunately for Flash Wolves, you do have 2 items completed on Bruce. That's gonna be your #1 win condition right now. Because if you look at Long, if you look at Iza, it's starting to look scary. They're scaling extremely fast here. Baya's doing no damage.
And I will point out as well, Long got the Rift Herald in the middle of that fight. So they're going to have that tool to open up this Drake.
And you know what the WRL is going to do? Exactly that. We pop the Rift Herald in the mid. We don't care about the outcome of it because that secures us the Dragon. Because of the game state, Nova can just muscle their way up the mid lane with the Rift Herald. But the important goal is the Dragon.
Ysera caught out. Bruce caught by the Hextech ultimatum. Yiza in. Bruce survives. The turret does fall to the Rift Herald.
But the
Yiza's
Dragon
finally blowed up. The Dragon in the meantime getting burned down. Down a player. Nova will be able to secure the Dragon. Can they get away with it? Is Cookie and Bruce pushed forward? The answer is yes. The Shroud getting them out.
They might want more. Flash Wolves are so low.
Flash Wolves are low. They're rooted as well. Grounded as well. But Nova don't see a window.
And you look at the map right now, you look at the top wave that was set up in advance by Nova, you look at the mid turret getting taken down by the Rift Herald, you might say, yeah, he's kind of ran it down. And you're right, he did kind of run it down. But think about what that got for his team there. They got the Dragon, they got the creep waves, they got the mid turret, and he was so close to killing Bruce as well.
And
he
he also,
really fought him.
regardless of what happens, pins Bruce down.
Yes.
It almost doesn't matter if he gets the kill because Bruce is not available to contest the Dragon.
Exactly, and you know Bruce likes to play aggressive. You know Bruce wants to be up in your face, but you can't do that when you're half health, right? And this is one of my critiques about Bruce this game. He's been playing fantastically, credits to him. But his package timings have been kind of odd. He hasn't had it in any important fight.
Got thrown off by that weird kill on the top side.
Yeah,
I genuinely
honestly.
think.
It really just snowballed from that. Dive comes in.
From Cookie, Cyclone under. That should be 1 kill. Neon very low, taken out by the death mark. Can Cookie get away? Doesn't look like it under the tower. He's slid away with the clone. Tower does fall. In the front line, it's all on this Garen, stalling out Ysera, half HP as Yiza flashes forward. It's Long, complete the kill. Bruce, caught in Axe-Tech ultimatum. Dawning Shadow as well. Flash Wolves in trouble. Cookie flashes away. Bruce pinned down. Valkyrie's forward, through the Hunting Fruit. He's gone!
Die.
And that's a massive pickup. Bruce gone, and Flash Wolves' hopes with him.
Nova, do not take any damage, CJ.
Baya now in huge trouble.
He went back!
Back in! Shadow shifts up to Long. Strands Yeeson in the middle of the team. They're gonna get the Baron.
Everything works out here for Nova. Baya got too greedy. He wanted to check the jungle. Because of that mistake, he kills himself. He kills Eason. He gives Baron to Nova. And at the end of the day, it's not really his fault as well.
And that'll be your Coca-Cola pop-off play.
And you look at Nova's health bar right now. Look at how they invested every single resource to kill Nian. Good, that's a good start here, right? But you look at how the team fight plays out. You use so many spells. You chunk out the members of Nova. They're getting low. Look at how low Long is. But Senna, Nasus. Why do we say this is a strong combo? The best stat check in the game. When you death ball, when you 5v5, when you run up the healing, the shielding, you take no damage.
And it was kind of staggered. Baya had to team kill his ally, but it did eventually turn into a Prime Gaming ace for Nova as they absolutely cleaned house. This is literally a team kill.
You might...
He just takes him right in.
Eason shouldn't have helped him. Eason should have just let him die.
I don't think he knew Eason hopped on, because it was like right as he shadow shifted.
And honestly, Eason shouldn't have helped on as well. There's no way he could have done, nothing he could have done to help him, really.
Ysera kind of roaming down as the push comes through the bottom lane here.
Yeah.
Cookie having to kite back, Ysera getting poked out up top.
And that's the thing, right? Poke from the Yuumi, poke from the Cookie. It's not going to be effective against the healing here.
Iza caught out by the Cyclone, slips away. Dawning Shadow giving him the shield.
Ysera did an ulti, right? And that made all the difference. Ysera did an ulti, and they're getting torn up on the map.
Ysera forward, Long proccing the counter-strike. That's scary enough. He just gets the turret.
This is just domination from Nova. 10,000 gold lead here against the Flash Wolves. This is a completely different Nova than the Nova we saw against Furious Gaming, TJ.
Well, it's a completely different Nova than the Game 2 Nova we saw against Furious Gaming. Shades of the Game 3 Nova present here as they've cleaned up their act.
They definitely have. And honestly, Flash Wolves, they made not many mistakes. If you really
No.
think about it, how many mistakes did they make this game? Several small mistakes, a couple of small mistakes.
I think it was Bruce getting caught out on the top side.
It was Eason and then Bruce, right?
Yeah.
And you see how Nova just snowballed it. You overstep one time, we punish you, the timings are off, and we immediately tempo the game from there. Nova just, I do want to point out a tiny little thing as well. Isa did buy Redemption to help his team. Why is that? Garen always buys Redemption. I think his rationale is if I'm in the side lane, at least I can give you guys a Redemption as well.
This is peak Leonard. I can tell you're having a good time because you're interrupting yourself.
I love what's going on in this game. We're finally seeing two good teams play.
Oh!
It's true though.
Ysera having to zone back as Nova Esports are deploying their strength as a good team, cleaning out the jungle, buying space, making sure Flash Wolves can't access any of their own gold farm, and critically keeping them away from this upcoming Elder Dragon.
Well, they're very far away from the Zelda Dragon right now, TJ. I don't believe Bruce has the package.
Cookie doesn't.
They're just gonna give
Cookie
this one
walks
up.
up and steals it.
Wait, Bruce has TP. This is so Flash Wolves. We're giving our Dragon Laner everything on the map. Our Dragon Laner buys TP so he can split push, so he can get bomb and come to the objective. What a world we live in.
Bruce actually rotating down, and this could be dangerous. He's split on the opposite side of Nova.
Ysera's dead.
Ysera gets caught
He
out.
can't move.
Actual China, I think, where we saw all these Chinese teams just get blown out. Nova Esports look a million times better than our representatives last year. And as we get into game again, they have a chance to prove why. Isa looking for the opportunity. Stasis cancels it, belongs right here. I don't know if that saves you. Oh, that gets him out. Burning down. Cookie's dead. A huge ult for the Dawning Shadow. Neon traded out. Ysera follows suit. Bruce kiting away. Valkyrie to try and build distance as Yami chases him down. Bruce is going to get shut down, and that'll be it. We load back into the game. Nova win a massive team fight, and they should be able to take inhibs here.
What an introduction to Senna Nessus for the regions that haven't seen it yet. Of course, it's played a ton in the WCS, it's played a ton in the WRL, but for all of you at home seeing this combo for the first time, how ridiculous is that? The Nessus runs in front, takes no damage, heals, shields, pokes, slows. It's just incredibly annoying to play against.
You get to this late game, those auto attacks hurt.
That too.
Engage onto Yami, doesn't do anything.
That's
there goes
it.
the turret.
That might be it, TJ.
Yeah, I think it is. Bayer all alone, 2 seconds on respawns. He clears the wave. Bayer goes in. Did he get all the minions? He did! Leonard, he killed all the minions!
He saved the game, but TJ, frankly, I'm not that excited for this. It just stalls out your execution.
It was a heroic play!
It says a lot about a game state when that's the heroic play, doesn't it? Let's take a look at the replay here, TJ.
Oh, this is of the team fight. You can check out exactly how big the Nasus is in the front
I'm
line.
just curious how Cookie just died.
Yeah,
What
I
did
don't
he
know what
die
that
to?
was. I think it was Nasus autos. That's my theory.
But the thing is, no one autoed him, so I think it really must just be the Senna. Like, he was out of range.
Dawning Shadow does a lot in the late game.
Yeah, we know the Senna has been scaling up all game. Remake has been getting souls like nobody's business right now.
Yeah. Collecting them like you're giving me Singaporean snacks.
I haven't given you any, right?
That's true.
You gotta have to hit Grandin up
like
for that
you
one.
should be giving me Singaporean snacks.
You gotta hit Grandin up for that one. Well, Nova, Baron in the back. 2 lanes to push at this point. Mid is open. Camille side laning, Jax grouping. You can really just run it down. And that's the power of the Senna Nessus as well. It enables your bruisers to take these 5v5s, to take these team fights. What can Flash Wolves do here?
Oh no, Bayer rooted, instantly cancels the
There we go.
synchronized engage, and Long just goes in underneath the
Wow.
turret. Long just autoing people, and that should be the game. Nova Esports look impeccable in game number 1 of their series versus Flash Wolves.
I love how Camille's still attached to the wall at the end there. It was just the small things in the early game, in the mid game, that broke that one open for Nova. But like, if you give them an inch, you know they're gonna take a mile here. Nova Esports, they truly do look impeccable.
1 or 2 mistakes is all Flash Wolves made.
And they weren't even glaring mistakes. They were small timing errors.
If they have one strategy, I'm sure they've prepared all the way from game 2 and a potential game 3 for this. Look at
Look
that.
at Bruce's damage. Bruce still done the most damage in the entire game, even on the losing side as well. I think it's nearly double damage of everyone else on his team as well. That's just a crazy performance. But it just shows how good Bruce is, and it just shows that, you know, if Nova carry on that game plan, and if Nova carry on banning out Bruce and keep focusing Bruce, because there was a situation during the early game where Long was just down in the bot lane. He just sat in the bush for a good like 1 or 2 minutes, and that's the game plan that Nova came in, and it worked out really well for them.
They know that it's a uncomfortable spot for Flash Wolves. They know that Bruce is put in a spot where he is not, you know, he's not on his A game. So that's where they actually pushed. And if you think about it, Nova Esports, that was just perfect homework on their side.
And it felt like this was not the Flash Wolves we knew. We didn't see many rotations come through from them. Like, they were just constantly sitting in lane, right? Like, Eason wasn't roaming around. Bruce was, like, they just weren't comfortable. It didn't feel like a comfortable game for them. And it honestly feels like Nova was just applying all of their pressure to it. Nova knew that Flash Wolves loves to roam around. And that's why